we're here for part two
Part two.
of
3.0.
Off the Cuff 3.0.
Yeah. Basically, we just did one, and it took us so long to get through all the crap.
Yeah.
Because so much shit happened in 1 week. We figured, let's be lazy. We don't have to do one next week if we just cut this into two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it
works for me.
And that was it.
You kind of got the American side of things last week.
Yeah, that's what we did last time.
And
this week is all of the English stuff, so it's not as much drama.
No, there's no one storming any government buildings in this one.
It's a lot more complaining, though, because it's to do with us. It affects us directly.
You see, Britain and the British, our national pastime is complaining.
Yeah, we do a lot of that.
And football.
Complaining
and football. And complaining about football.
I don't care if we lose all our listeners. Football is shit.
Heresy.
Sorry if you're American soccer.
It's never called soccer.
It's always called soccer.
It's always called football.
No, isn't it like most countries call it soccer?
Yeah, well, all those countries are wrong. It's called football.
We're the right ones. We invented it.
It's called football.
Yeah.
American football, you only use your feet every now and again. Yeah. You run with it in your hands, so therefore it's not football.
So why do they call it football?
Because they're idiots.
They just insulted like 60% of our listeners. You're all idiots.
Whoever invented the game was an idiot.
Yeah. What should it be called then?
I don't care.
Throw and catch ball.
Pussy rugby.
Pussy rugby.
That's what they should call it.
Apparently it's meant to be pretty good. I've never watched it.
I have.
Yeah.
I tried to watch a Super Bowl. I made it through the first half, the first two quarters, and I was just like, what the fuck is this bollocks? Why is it every time someone gets tackled, they just stop the fucking game? This is terrible.
Because it's like they have two teams, don't they? Offense and defense.
Yeah. But it's like, this is fucking shit.
Yeah, I've never watched it, but I've heard it's meant to be all right. But I don't like team sports anyway.
I'd rather masturbate with a cheese grater than watch that again.
You have done that before?
Yeah, just the ones. It wasn't good.
Nah, wouldn't do it again.
No.
2 stars.
Yeah, 2 stars would not do again.
Just leave that next to a cheese grater. 2 stars. Also wash before use.
Yeah, that's why I'm not allowed back in Asda.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we're going to cover COVID, lockdown, Brexit, yeah. So basically just moaning.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's all we seem to do anyway.
Yeah. Enjoy.
So, enough about America.
Yeah, let's move on.
We've spent like an hour and a half.
Yeah. That's because American politics is fun to discuss and debate because it's just crazy over there.
Yeah.
It's been like a massive TV show for us to just watch it unfold for a year.
So, do you want to start with Brexit?
Brexit, yeah.
It's finally done.
It is.
It's done. We've got a deal.
Yeah.
It's not the oven-ready deal that we were promised.
You're livid about this, aren't you?
I am and I'm not.
I'm like optimistic. I'm trying to be optimistic because I mean it's what we have. It's like we're stuck with it now. So.
But it's not as good as what we had.
We don't know yet, do we?
Well, there's goods already piling up at the ports. The fishermen are. Oh, Brexiteers and their fish.
I know, yeah. It does seem weird, does it?
0.01% of the economy, and they're all fucking fascinated by fish.
Yeah.
But apparently, these Scottish fishermen are saying that they've got stuff rotting at the docks. They can't import it. Can't export it.
What do we do with all this fish? Hopefully the fish from the chippy will go down in price.
Oh, I hope so. Might go up. Who knows?
We can get 2 then.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I think it's too soon to say that. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be like messes when you first start out or something because you don't really know what you're doing. So I would argue. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have preferred to have stayed, but we are where we are now, so I'm not going to get annoyed about it. And I mean, it does seem a little bit of a shame that we're not going to have that freedom of movement. But I'm quietly optimistic that it's going to go in the right direction in the end. Yeah. I do feel like it's going to. Yeah, I see what you're saying about we had a really good deal, but
because we had the same deal as everyone else.
Yeah, but I think it may lead to something better. I'm not saying it's better now because I don't think anything because you start off. It's like saying I'm going to become a famous painter and then I'm expecting to be able to paint the best painting of your life the very first time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Rees-Mogg was one of the leading, Jacob Rees-Mogg, a Tory MP, head of the Commons.
Yeah.
Turned around and said, "Oh, it might take 40 years."
Yeah.
Well, that's an entire fucking working life.
Yeah. It's going to take.
That's not good enough.
Yeah.
So you're condemning an entire generation to having a bit of a shitty time. Well, that's not good enough for me.
It might not be shit though. We don't know.
Well, no, but
It could be.
Things are going to drop. Standards of living, healthcare services, social services are going to fall off.
You know what the funny thing is that I find about the Brexit? So, like, I don't really care that much about the Brexit debate, but you know what I find funny about it is the people that sit on the left of the Brexit debate actually sound like the Conservatives in the argument. We like what we have. We already have a good thing. Why would we change it? It sounds very conservative, doesn't it?
But remember, 5 years ago, this wasn't an issue.
No, it wasn't. And it shouldn't have been an issue, really, because it wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, no, all it was is that there's two reasons this went ahead.
Yeah.
Let's go back in time to 2016. 2016. We're back in 2016. I've got hair. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. But even so, 2016.
Let's go back to 1995. Yes, I have hair.
I had hair in 2003. Let's bring that. Let's go back there.
Just about.
No, I still had hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it came down to UKIP getting 4 million votes. United Kingdom Independence Party, headed by Nigel Farage, wanted to break away from the EU.
For anyone who doesn't know, that's like a far-right party in England.
Yeah, they got 4 million votes. The problem was that a lot of all their votes were spread out.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually get any MPs. Even their leader didn't get into Parliament.
Yeah.
He was beaten by a man in a dolphin suit. In the constituency he was running.
Yeah.
Was
it you? Were you in the dolphin suit?
I can neither confirm nor deny. And David Cameron at the time, who was in charge, was like, I might lose a load of my backbenchers to UKIP if they switched. That would wipe out my majority. Let's pacify everyone by doing this referendum.
Yeah.
And I know Remain will win. It won't be a problem. Oh, of course it will. Problem was the press didn't agree with that.
No.
And
it's always the problem. It always comes down to what what's best financially for the media.
Exactly, and the people who run it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about the media. They don't. Although I said that, like with Twitter and all that, Facebook, they all lean left. With the media, they don't lean left or right. They lean where the money is.
Exactly.
They always lean where the money is.
I will then provide further evidence to this.
Yeah.
And the fact that the EU wanted to push through a bill that said no EU citizen can have a foreign bank account and outside the EU and use it for tax evasion purposes.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted to push through, that legislation. And all of a sudden, every single rich person in the UK went, any single rich person with political clout. I mean, look at the Panama Papers. Do you remember them?
No. Are we diving down a rabbit hole now?
No. Panama Papers came out and said that a load of people in Britain, a load of the super rich in Britain, aren't paying taxes, and they've got billions, hundreds of...
Well, they'll be paying some taxes.
They'll be paying some taxes.
Yeah.
But hundreds of billions of pounds that should have gone to the public purse are sat in places like Panama, Panamanian banks, where they don't have to pay as much tax.
Yeah.
So the rich keep getting richer, and that is then made up out of the taxpayers' money. So Cameron's dad was involved, David Cameron's dad, the Prime Minister's father, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Ian Duncan Smith, Michael Gove, all implicated in this. And these are the people that pushed for Brexit.
Yeah.
Basically, it just came down to them not paying as much tax, much like the American Revolution. Now, I'm not with that. I don't go for that. It's like, no. I mean, Rees-Mogg's company, he's a devout Catholic. He's got shares in fucking contraceptive pills. This guy is just in it for the cash. His dad wrote a book about how to make money out of a recession. Right? That is what will bring... So that's what Brexit is going to bring on.
Yeah.
Combined with COVID, we're going to hit a recession. Our GDP has slumped 2 or 3%.
Yeah, COVID's going to bring a massive recession.
The pound has stayed reasonably steady.
Yeah.
But it's this Brexit and this has wiped about 3% off our GDP.
Yeah.
We have got supermarkets who are struggling to stock fresh fruit and veg.
Well, you can't say that Brexit caused the the massive sort of drop in GDP because literally Brexit
No, but it's
only
added
happened
to it.
like
Yeah.
officially a few weeks ago, didn't it? So I mean, it's mostly been the pandemic,
Yeah.
to be fair.
But
I
still,
mean,
the red tape.
it will drop it down. I agree
Yeah.
with you, it will, but you can't say it as of now. I agree with the food shortages as well. That will be Brexit, but with the whole financial crisis, that's just the pandemic right now.
Everything that was said, oh, that's Project Fear, you're Ramonas, that's Project Fear, right? Well, it's all coming true.
Why is it the Ramonas have such a lame name and Brexiteers have a cool name?
Well,
why would you give them a cool name?
They have a lot of other names.
Yeah, why would you call them such a cool name?
They have a lot of other names.
Naming them like the Musketeers.
Thickos, gammons, racists half the time. It's just ridiculous. I think the whole idea was stupid. You don't do away with something that you've based your economy on for 40 years on a fucking whim.
Yeah.
And referendums are meant to be advisory, not legally binding.
Yeah.
But I'm going too far back in time.
Yeah, right.
And showing my own bitterness.
Let's bring it back then. So I think that the problem we had is the Tories and the way they sort of sold this to us was misinformation. And
it was.
The media didn't help.
No.
There's a lot of people, so not yourself, I'm not saying yourself, but there was a lot of people on the left that literally said the only reason why all the Tories and all the people that vote Tory have done this is because they want to get rid of the immigrants because they're racist. Yeah, that's an element. I would agree with that to a certain extent.
Every single racist voted for it.
Yeah, a couple of million people in this country, I'm sure, are racist. But I think a large portion of people voted it because they were given promises that were misleading, such as the NHS will be able to give 350 million.
That's right. That's what it said on the bus.
Yeah, was that a week or a month or
a week?
Yeah, you hear those numbers: 350 million to the NHS.
Wow.
Sign me up. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and I agree. But they were so.
And that was a lie.
Yeah,
literally.
It was literally. I remember getting up.
Yeah. If I'd have seen that and not sorry to interrupt you, but if I'd have seen that and not done my own research on it, sign me up. I would have been there voting. Yeah. And when we see that stuff on the news, we see a bus go past on the news because they put his face on the side of a bus and it drove on the news. I remember seeing it.
It was literally it was that Boris was going round standing in front of that bus. And, we send the EU £350 million a week. Let's spend it on our NHS instead.
Had I
That's
seen
what
that,
it said on the bus.
Had I have seen that and just that and not known anything else, I would have jumped at that.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Right. No, it's taken that. My other issue is it's taken that long to get this thing fucking done.
Yeah.
I think we probably should have had another fucking say on it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of people. This is going to sound very morbid, but I know you agree with me. A lot of people that voted for it were older generation people that remember a time before Brexit that now, unfortunately,
remember a time before the EU that they're coming in for the Second World War was great. We're all such a community.
There was an economic.
Let's get that back.
There was an economic boom, and they forget there was an economic. They forget that the reason why everything was good because there was a lot of people that were dead. So there was a lot of stuff.
A lot of jobs.
There was a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of jobs going.
There was a lot of opportunities.
In fact, there was so many jobs going. They shipped a bunch of people over from the Caribbean to do some of the shitty ones.
There was a lot of opportunities. There was a lot of houses because a lot of people didn't have houses anymore because they were dead.
They rebuilt council houses. I mean, they rebuilt social housing. A lot of the houses that were built were social housing because it was a Labour government.
Yeah, a lot of people died during.
The NHS was formed.
A lot of people died during the Second World War. They didn't just die fighting the war. They died of poverty because poverty was really high.
800,000, I think, Britain's war dead was. That includes combat fatalities.
Does that include the poverty?
That includes civilians and I think it's about 800,000, which is nowhere near the scale of the First World War, but
it's still bad.
Still a lot.
Yeah. And this is the point: is they remember a time when they were growing up and everything was fantastic, because we built a bunch of houses, we were trying to build the economy.
The NHS was at its strongest ever. It had just been brought in.
Yeah, so things were great.
Doctors are walking around smoking pipes over lung cancer patients are going, blowing the smoke at them, going, that's nothing to do with your 45 today, mate.
So things were great back then for them. So they think that things will be great.
You could buy a house.
Thought things would be great.
They went to work. They could buy a house for $5,000, if that, and they could literally live on one wage.
Yeah.
But that's not coming back, and that's not the fault of the EU. That's the fault of inflation.
Overpopulation.
I wouldn't even go that far.
Well,
I
yeah.
say it's the fault of it's capital. It's trickle down economics, isn't it?
Well, no, it's over with the house thing. It's overpopulation because there's so many
plenty
people.
of houses out there. There's fucking hundreds of thousands of houses that are standing empty.
Yeah, right now. But as time goes on, as the population goes on, you run out of places to build houses, and that's why why house prices go up.
But we'll worry about that when we come to it.
Yeah, but that's why house prices go up, because eventually you run out of space, don't you?
We'll all live in mega cities at that point.
Hopefully, cities in the sky or in the ocean.
Oh no, I was thinking like Dread, where it's like blocks, habitation blocks.
You go depressed, and I went cool and sci-fi.
Yeah, I went depressing and sci-fi. I went grimdark. We live in hive cities, and the underhive, they're all polluted and scaly.
Yeah, but
all the shit goes down there.
But yeah, it was a different time, and they thought that it would be that again if they voted for it.
Yeah.
And sadly, not just because of COVID, because COVID has obviously killed a lot of old people, but because of old age, because it's been 4 years, a lot of them have died.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of people, young people who wanted to stay in, come of voting age.
A lot of 14 and 15-year-olds that thought, you know what, I wouldn't mind living in France for a year.
Yeah.
During my uni year off, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bugger off on a backpacking tour of Europe and shag some checkbirds.
Now may never have that chance, and they deserve that vote. So
I think so.
Although I don't agree with everything that Corbyn did, I liked him. I like him as a whole, but I don't agree with everything he did. The idea of giving them a second chance, I think he had some merit in that argument.
Well, he basically spelled it out. I mean, it was sat on the fence a little bit, and I think Keir was behind that as well. He was like, well, you should probably throw them a Brexit vote. Whereas Boris was like, let's get it done.
Because a lot of Labour people voted for it as well. Obviously not as many Tory, but a lot of Labour wanted it as well.
Not as many. I think the Labour Party was something like 70% Remain.
Yeah.
And Corbyn, even though himself was a leaver, he wasn't a fan of the EU, went, okay, what are the party?
Yeah.
Okay, oh man.
He's always considered himself a bit of a freedom fighter, though, hasn't he? He doesn't want to be tied down to anything.
That's it. But he has been anti-EU for a long time. Yeah. But he come out and he said, all right, the parties said that they want to stay, so we need to come up with some kind of thing. And Keir was the shadow minister for Brexit, and I still maintain if Keir had been negotiating, we'd have had a fucking much better deal in a lot sooner time.
Yeah.
But they didn't want him doing it because he was Labour.
Yeah.
So they came up with a plan of, okay, we'll have 3 options on the ballot this time. We stay, we leave with this deal, which we've got, or we leave with no deal.
Yeah.
Which I think is perfectly fair.
Yeah.
I think it's very sensible. Let's not throw ourselves off a cliff. Let's have another look at this.
So what I think should have happened, and I know we've gone down the rabbit hole again, but we'll bring it back to Brexit because we're in current day. But going back to when it happened, okay, so we voted to leave. During the referendum, or the potential that we could have had, what they should have done is they should have given a bullet point of a page or two to each person so they could read through what actually the pros and cons were.
Yeah, but you had
because
the Leave campaign and the Remain campaign.
Yeah. All they had was false promises on the news. And had they had those bullet points, it could have changed the minds enough for there to be a referendum.
A lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
The night before the election, I remember watching it. Not watching it, it was on Facebook.
Yeah.
And someone I work with said, well, tomorrow, if we stay in the EU, they're going to admit Turkey. That means there could be millions of Muslims wanting to come and live in the UK legally. And they want to form a EU army. Go and Google it if you don't believe me. Well, I did Google it.
Yeah.
And it was all bollocks.
Yeah. Turkey does want to join, though, don't
they? They do, but they've got massive human rights abuses, and the EU won't let them anywhere near it.
Oh.
Yeah, they've pretty much got a dictator.
Hopefully they'll sort that shit out.
they've pretty much got a dictator in charge, and the EU's going to be like...
Seems like a nice place. I've been there. People are nice.
Yeah, well, the people are pretty lovely, but the government sucks.
Oh,
Erdogan, his name is.
Yeah.
Nearly caused World War III by blowing up a fucking Russian plane.
Fucking hell.
You know when the Russians got involved with Afghanistan?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Started bombing, and some Russian plane like swung a bit too far out of its fucking return arc.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing
into Turkish airspace. And the Turks shot it down.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that.
And you're like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. There's always going to be an element of hatred and racism, though, isn't there? In these
there is.
Things.
Sadly, it's ennobled a lot of them to come out and start expressing these.
This is the thing, though. This is the stupid thing I've said.
And I don't know where my country's at anymore.
Yeah, this is the stupid thing. I've had this conversation with people before, though. I'm saying to them, do you realise when it comes to all this, is immigration isn't going anywhere. We're still going to have immigration. We're still going to need skilled workers. We're going to have skilled worker shortages and bring them in from foreign countries.
Yes, but what about
so we're still going to have immigration.
Workers?
That too, because they run out. Not everyone wants to. A lot of people refuse to do the unskilled jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see some of my unemployed friends going and picking potatoes for minimum wage or less than minimum wage.
Or cleaning a toilet.
Or cleaning a toilet. Yeah. I can't see it.
So you're not going to do away with immigration. So that as a leave argument was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It was stupid because they were like, oh, well, we'll control immigration. It's like, how are you going to control it? Because we still need it. You're always going to need it. Every country in the world is going to need it.
We've ended freedom of movement now. And a lot of the Brexit supporters are like, yeah, we've ended it. No one can come in. It's like, yeah, you can't fucking get out either, though, mate. Yeah. You can't go, you know what? But when I retire, I'm going to go live in Spain. Yeah. Can't do that anymore. And what's amused me the most is these fucking thick pricks who live in Spain and the south of France, and they've got their little villa, and they voted to leave, and now they can't stay. Oh, if I was in charge, I'd declare them persona non grata.
So they can't come back.
I'd say, sorry, you left.
Well, some of them.
You don't know. No, sorry, you left.
Yeah.
You went to live in Spain. You want to come back?
You can't come back.
You can't come back. I'm going to put you on a boat in the channel, and you're going to live on a shitty fishing trawler in the middle of the channel.
Surely they won't all get kicked back home.
They can only spend 6 months a year there, no?
Oh, wow. Well,
didn't see that one coming, did they?
Yeah.
Dozy fuckers. Oh, it's making me fucking angry.
Some of them probably didn't vote it, though.
No. All of them did, but you had there was a pair turned up for the Brexit party with their little run they had. Do you remember that when they were doing the last general election? The Brexit party rocked up and basically enabled the Tories to win. Yeah. And you had this couple turn up with their big badges and their little hats, and they're like, "Yeah, we live in Spain. We've come all the way from Spain to vote for this." And you're like, "Yeah, you're fucking idiots."
See, the thing is though, is we'll just negotiate new trade deals and new immigration sort of pacts with people. Because you can't do away with immigration. So we'll have people immigrate from just different countries.
They've gone to India and said, "How about a massive trade deal?"
Yeah, so we'll just have an immigration deal as well.
Great. But we want X amount of visas every year. Yeah. The whole point of Brexit was to control immigration.
Yeah.
And they're not controlling it that way. No. And let's face it, who do these cunts hate the most? Brown people.
Yeah.
So all the Eastern Europeans,
some
of them are coming over.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be flooded by brown people, which is what they don't like. So they voted to shoot themselves in the fucking foot.
I think that's a good thing. I think that's good. I think
I've got no issue with it.
Yeah, I think.
But I feel sorry for these poor fuckers who've been lied to.
I think after this, in order for us to create new trade deals, even with European countries, we'll have to create new immigration deals with them as well.
Of course you
will. So I think immigration isn't going anywhere. You need it.
No, it's not
important.
But it's not going to be fit. But you and I.
It'll take
we're stuck here.
It'll take ages before we can go anywhere.
We're stuck here because I don't want to go and live in India.
No.
No offense to India, which is lovely.
It's just the
wealth
divide is really bad.
I've spoken to there's an Indian guy called Bob.
This is going to be a tangent. I can feel this one.
He runs a shop in the town centre called Twisted Fate. He's a really nice guy. Yeah. Wears a turban. He's a proper Indian dude. He's Indian Bob.
Mm-hmm. Indian Bob.
He's friends with my dad.
Yeah.
He goes in and buys clothes off him. He gives me a discount. I went in there looking for a nice suit.
Yeah.
I was having a chat to him, and he said, "Oh, mate, I'd rather live in the UK," because he sounds completely English.
Yeah.
Sounds like completely. But I'd rather live in the UK
because he was probably born here.
He was. Because I went back in the. It was like this was last year or so. And I went back in the summer.
Yeah.
And she said it's probably longer than that because COVID was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he goes, I went back. He goes, mate, there was shit running into the streets.
Yeah.
There's open sewers. There's rats anywhere. I don't want to live there.
The wealth divide is insane. The political corruption is insane.
Now, apparently the Taj Mahal, right, lovely inside.
Yeah.
Right? Gardens
and outside,
car park's got fucking rats running around in it.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, the political corruption is awful there.
Oh, yeah, you give a fucking police officer 200 fags, he'll get you over anything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's literally, I told you, my one client literally talking about it now. The Sikhs are being treated awfully over there at the moment. They literally, all the Sikhs make up a lot of the farmer class. Apparently, I didn't even know this, but there's like a class system. And
these are the caste system.
Yeah, that's it, the caste system.
The darker you were,
Yeah.
the
I don't
lower
know.
caste you were.
I didn't know how it works.
Yeah.
He just told me basically a
think-
lot of Sikhs are in the farmer caste or something. And he said that apparently now they're trying to change the law basically so they can commercialize the farming industry, which basically is going to screw over millions of farmers.
Yeah.
Basically make them lose their farms and then they'll have to work on their farms as slaves essentially.
Clients,
Yeah.
To a corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the Indian caste system is the darker you were,
Yeah.
showed how poor you were because you spent more time outside working.
Okay.
So if you were quite a pale-skinned Indian,
Yeah.
that shows that you spend your time indoors, being waited on by servants, not outside.
I thought it was
12 hours a day toiling the fields.
I thought the caste system was like a financial and job thing. So
it is that too, but it also goes on skin color.
Okay.
And they used to refer them as untouchables. They would not. There was a certain caste who were below everything.
Yeah. But there's been a massive protest among I think it's like the world's biggest protest.
There was, yeah, which we never heard anything about.
No, it's all been America and their protests and the violence there. It's like the world's biggest protest because these farmers are basically being treated awfully. They're peacefully protesting and they're getting hosed down, beaten the shit out of. Massive corruption over there.
Never underestimate the Sikhs, my friend. They fight for what is right. That's why they all carry a knife.
Yeah. I've been told. Yeah, literally.
That is there to symbolise the fact they will fight against injustice.
My client said that. He said they're warrior people.
They are.
The Sikhs.
The Brits had a lot of trouble overcoming the Sikhs.
Yeah.
And eventually they recognised that we were.
He told me something interesting actually. He said that's why they have the name Singh. It means lion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kaur means princess.
Oh, nice.
That's why a lot of them have the sort of name Singh or Kaur. Yeah, it means lion because they are warriors. The men are warriors, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, it was when the Brits decided to annex their territory.
Yeah,
and they put up a hell of a fight. You don't know if they were outnumbered and we had slightly better tech.
Yeah.
That they lost.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that so many Sikhs went to war...
That's why they wear that bangle as well. It's to symbolise that they've always had a shield and a knife ready. That used to be like their shield, and then they had their knife that they would always carry.
And, the reason so many of them fought for Britain is because they respected us as warriors. So they're like, well, they've got our respect. They beat us, so...
Yeah, they fought with us.
We'll fight with you. Yeah. Same as the Gurkhas.
But yeah, anyway, to bring it back, because we went on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, Brexit.
It's gone through.
It's gone through.
I know you're not happy about it, and I know you wish we could go back.
I accept it, though.
And to be fair, I'm with you to an extent. I do think that it seemed silly because it seemed like a system that worked fairly well. I think you would think it worked really well. I think it worked well enough. I don't think any system.
I'm not saying that the EU is perfect.
No,
there's a lot of issues, but is it better to stay in and try and change that from the inside?
Probably,
or just become an isolationist little hunk of rock on the edge of Europe?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I do think that it probably would have made more sense. We are like the 5th most powerful economy. We could have probably made a lot of influence from the inside.
Yeah, if
we're a massive consumerist country, but it is what it is. People voted leave. I mean, sometimes I think that a lot of them voted leave on misinformation, and I think we probably would still be in it had we have given the facts.
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway from this podcast today is don't trust the social media and don't trust the media, the news, because they lie to you. Google it and Google it again. Research and research again.
Make an informed decision. Double check, triple check.
Use common sense as well. If someone says this person's doing this, think, well, wait a sec, does that make sense, or could it be something else?
And
Let
also,
me search.
Look at, does that person have your best interests at heart?
Yeah.
Does a multimillionaire telling you to change your entire financial system, and saying you'll be fine, if he hasn't got to worry, don't trust that guy.
Exactly, yeah.
Or woman, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't trust them. If a multimillionaire says, hey, you'll be just fine, buddy,
there's no guarantee that you will be.
So maybe it doesn't matter if things do crash because he's fine.
Yeah. So maybe do your research a little bit, because maybe again to bring it back to Brexit, because we are in the end game now of Brexit.
End game.
Brought in Avengers there.
Yeah.
We are in the end.
Boris has clicked his fingers.
He's Thanos.
Oh God.
Thanos with the gun, and he goes, boom. We're out of the EU.
You're out.
Half the EU just disappears.
Oh no.
No. Oh, it's fine. It's just France.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Italy's still there.
Poland's still there.
Yeah.
Good.
It's like, yeah, we still have pizza and pasta. Yes.
And, oh man, what is it? Shit, I forgot the Polish dish.
Croissants are gone. I do like croissants.
Oh, and chocolate.
Chocolate croissants.
Couldn't we get rid of Spain?
Yeah, they don't bring a lot to the table. Sangria. No one likes Sam.
Oh, I like San Miguel.
Do you? Oh, yeah, San Miguel. But yeah, to get back to my point is I am optimistic because I think yes, we are in the situation we are. Yes, it might be bad for a few years, but I do think that yes, sometimes things can be bad, or we can be positive about it and go, look, we're open to new trade deals, we're open to new opportunities. Let's just wing it and let's see how we go. We can only go up from here because you can't. We're at the bottom now. We're starting from scratch again, so we can only go up from there.
Or you can sink further down.
You
can always go further down.
I mean, yes and no, but we are the 5th biggest economy on the planet.
The 5th.
I think we are again now.
I don't think we are.
We dropped to 6th. I think we've moved back up to 5th. We keep doing this.
You can always go lower, like the time I pissed in someone's mouth.
Oh, no. But yeah.
You can always go lower.
No.
It could have gone lower.
But yeah, I am optimistic. I do think that this could end up being a positive if we work at it. I don't like where we are, but I think that you can either look at it, we're fucked, or you can look at it and go, well, this could lead to a bunch of new deals, new opportunities, and I think it will. I think it'll come up good.
My final word on it is that I don't think it's been the fucking division it's caused in the country.
You don't think it needs to be?
I don't think it needed to happen.
No.
I don't think the amount of money and time...
Well, that's the thing.
And people and families falling out.
Yeah, that's the thing with American politics and English politics right now. The polarization is insane.
I mean, I wouldn't...
Families and friends falling out over politics.
I wouldn't date an ardent Brexiteer.
Wouldn't you?
No.
Why?
Because I just think, well, you're a fucking idiot. And maybe that's a little bit of intellectual ignorance, a little bit of intellectual supremacy.
Yeah.
From my own point of view.
Yeah, but
I'll be like, well, and no one has yet given me a fucking benefit.
Yeah, but
no one has given me a tangible benefit to leaving.
That's a little bit silly though, if you think about it, because you said that based on the fact that it's not beneficial for the majority. But that doesn't mean that woman wouldn't be in the minority. So
she might be a multi-millionaire.
Yes, so she's a multi-millionaire.
Oh, well, she's a multi-millionaire. I don't give two shits.
Brexit would be good for her.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
So then you date her.
But then
because one, she's a millionaire, so she can take care of you.
Yeah.
And buy you all the shit you want.
Well, as a politician, I suppose
There we go. Corruptible.
I'm not corruptible.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not. You're saying that if she wants to take care of me, then all right.
So yeah, Brexit as a whole for your common man probably isn't good initially.
It's not going to work out.
It might be.
In the short term.
Should we make a bet?
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years' time, I think we will be better off than we are now.
Really? 10 years? That's even Rees-Mogg says 40.
I reckon 10.
All right.
I reckon we're too much of a spending nation not to be able to do well.
I just think that it's gonna
we're already in a trade deal, and then we just got to make new deals with new people.
Well, I want to see how it goes. I don't think it's going to work. I think the polarization caused the country.
I think we'll do better than we did before.
Right.
In the next 10 years.
I don't see it.
Or B, we'll rejoin in 10 years.
Well, that's just playing both sides.
No, it's not.
So you always come out on top.
No, the third side is that they don't let us rejoin, and then we just fucked.
They would let us rejoin, but they would want us to become more.
Bend the knee.
Basically, yeah, bend the knee. Take the euro, bend the knee.
Yeah.
Because we always said no, we're not taking the euro.
Yeah.
I'd have taken the euro.
No, I wouldn't have.
Because then I'm going to change any money going abroad because I'm lazy.
I wouldn't have. I think the money looks shit. Looks like that shitty money you got when you was a kid and you had
Monopoly money.
Yeah. I don't like it.
It's not the best looking money, but maybe
it's fucking ugly, man.
But every country has its own slight different design. So you go to Italy, and on the back of their €2 coins, you've got the Vitruvian Man.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So we'd have had.
I think it looks shit.
We'd have probably had on ours. We'd have probably had the Queen's head on the back still. Yeah. And I know all these fucking Brexiteers love the Queen. I do. Let me lick her boots. Let me lick your boots, Mom. Oh, 2x4. Like what? I lick your boots and whack myself off.
As you can tell, Ben hates the royal family.
Fucking pricks. Anyway, lockdown.
Yeah, we'll move on from that because you've got some deep.
I'm getting rage.
You've got some deep-seated hate.
Severe rage.
I think it'll be all right.
I'm getting rage.
You don't think it'll be all right, do you? You think it's gonna?
I think it will eventually. Once everything's either sorted.
You just don't think you'll live to see it.
No, I think that basically
you'll be like 18, damn.
I've always said that my generation, who were born in the 80s, are a lost generation.
Yeah.
We have.
So the 90s. We haven't got it any better.
We've got nothing to define us.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you do 80s music. It's pretty good.
Power of 80s rock can cause you to walk again.
Yeah.
As you found it in Cobra Kai.
Oh, spoiler, man!
Spoiler alert, sorry. But I'm just saying that I think that, so, okay, so great. So if I decide to have children, if you and I decide to have kids, because let's face it, not you.
I don't want kids with you, man.
Well, you're the mother in this.
Am I?
You're the chick in
Let's
this.
hope they get my genetics, eh?
What's wrong with mine?
I mean, if they're a man, they might want to grow a beard one day.
I'm growing a beard right now.
Where? No, I see it. It's there.
It's blonde, mate. It's fucking Viking.
Carry on. What were you saying?
So, but our birth rate could severely drop because people aren't going to be in a position where they, okay, well, we can't afford kids.
Yeah.
With everything,
it was getting that way before Brexit, though. To be fair,
that's 10 years of Tory government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that for us, I think it's severely limited our options in life.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. To be fair, I would agree. But again, that's based on the information we have now.
That is, and
in 10 years' time, we might be able to have freedom of movement in lots of wonderful countries. We don't know.
Maybe so.
We might get great trade deals. I mean, I know you said you don't want to go to India, but maybe there's other countries. I mean, usually what happens when a country doesn't trade with countries nearby, they trade with countries further away.
Pierogi.
What?
That's the Polish fucking dish I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Pierogi.
Isn't it pierogi?
Pierogi. Yeah. Either way,
yeah.
Fucking delicious.
Okay. Yeah, but we'll just create trade deals with countries further away, and that could be some amazing countries.
It could be, but we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah.
I don't trust this shower of shite in charge to fucking sort everything out, though.
Well, it won't be, will it?
I mean, they can't even manage a fucking lockdown.
He's dealt with the initial trade deal, and then Keir will deal with the next deals, the deals with all of the foreign countries. And as you've said, he is probably the better diplomat, the better negotiator. So I think he'll find us some countries that we want.
You don't get to be the top lawyer in the country unless you're pretty switched on, do you?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we've already got a trade deal with Japan. I'm hoping he creates a little bit of freedom of movement there, because
I think
they don't like people coming in, but I would love to go there and spend a couple of years there.
They turned us down on that option.
Hey, there's still time. Renegotiations as years go on.
True.
It's a step forward.
Well, they tell us to fuck off.
Yeah.
All you're selling us is cheese.
The Japanese do not like foreigners coming into their country.
No, they don't. They've always been very isolationist.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because I'd love to live there. But you've got to have like a massive skill to go there. Otherwise, they don't want you in. Bit like Australia.
Yeah. Shitter.
They're massive conservatives. That's why they did all those rallies for Trump. They're like massively conservative over there.
Well,
yeah. Makes sense, though. They're a very stoic country.
I would say obedient.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Very obedient people. Yeah. Which brings us on to lockdown.
Yeah,
because Japan had a lockdown, and they just said, you can follow it, or you can not take the piss.
Yeah.
And
well, they didn't even have a lockdown, did they?
They kind of had a semi-lockdown. It's like, look, stay at home unless you have to go.
Yeah.
Wear a mask if you go out.
Yeah.
But we're not going to make you. And they followed
Close your businesses, but we won't punish you if you don't.
Yeah.
It was like please do it, and if not, then okay.
Yeah. In Britain,
and they only had like 3,000 deaths, and
exactly. In their word,
152 million population.
Britain's got a population of 60 million, and
67, I think.
60. 67.
Yeah.
And we've had 100,000 deaths.
Nearly 100,000.
Although how many of
those
about
89 or something like
how many of those are legitimately COVID? Because in this country, if you test positive for COVID, recover, then I don't know, get hit by a car in 3 days' time, they will put that down as a COVID-related death for some reason.
Yeah, okay. Just before we start the COVID bit, it's just important to say that by no means are we these sort of lunatics that think COVID doesn't exist.
Oh, it exists.
It definitely exists. And by no means do we want to say, like, anyone that died of COVID, we think that death is less than or whatever.
No. Every death matters.
We think it's an awful virus, and it literally has ruined, like, entire families, like they've lost loved ones, and we understand that. But at the same time, we've been through a year of lockdown, so we're obviously very frustrated. So that's why we're going to vent now.
Yeah,
that's why this is where that vent was coming from. But just to get that out of the way, is everyone that's died is awful and it's really sad. But at the same time, we've had 3 lockdowns. We're on our 3rd one.
Yeah,
and it's not working.
Clearly, it isn't.
It's not working
because now we're at a higher stage where the NHS, our public health service, could be completely overwhelmed.
Yeah. So initially, the very, very first lockdown was 2 to 3 weeks to stop the spread, to slow the spread down so that we could get on top of it.
Well,
and
the first one went on for 5 months.
No,
though.
then 2 to 3 weeks was the plan to slow down the spread.
Yeah.
And then they extended it to 3 months. And the reason why, and I was for it, I was upset. You remember I was upset. I complained a lot. I was upset about it because I'm self-employed, and self-employed suffered a lot from this. Financially, obviously not taking away from people that suffered physically from the virus. But at the same time, literally, I'm losing my train of thought here now. No, at the same time, the Tories, Boris, it's going to sound like we're bashing the Tories here, and it is because they've mismanaged it. But Boris said it's to give us time to create these Nightingale hospitals, to get the hospitals ready, to get the ventilators ready, so that we can handle this. So that if it gets to the point where it's a massive pandemic and we're running out of hospital beds, we can ship them off to these Nightingale hospitals, and we don't have to choose who lives and dies.
That's the one thing they've done right.
Yeah.
It's the only thing they did right.
And that sounded, when I heard that, I was like, okay, I don't think this is going to be a big deal, but it sounds like they think it's going to be a big deal. So I'm for that. Get the hospitals up and running, get the extra beds ready, get the ventilators ready, get everything ready.
He missed out on a fucking ventilator deal with the EU. The EU turned around to the British government and said, hey, we know you're leaving, but we're bulk buying ventilators, and we can get you a better deal if you come in with us. How's that? No, Britain can handle this.
Because he didn't think it was going to get in. And then when it did, and they went to their PPE frigging house, it was empty because they hadn't been funding the NHS, so the NHS had been dipping into it.
Yeah. They're like, oh, well, where's all the NHS? Where's all the PPE stocks? We've been dipping into that for the last 10 years, mate.
Because you haven't been funding us.
Oh, what about ventilators? Well, we've got a few.
Yeah, but not enough.
Not enough. Oh, how many do you need? About an extra 4,000.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish you'd have taken that deal with the EU.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway.
And the fact they've just literally handed PPE contracts to their mates.
Yeah.
So
they've handed everything to their mates.
Yeah. It's like for over
test and trace systems, apps to their mates.
The Apple and Google
went
to the government and have been to every government and said, look, we've got an app for this.
It works.
It works. And all you've got to do is, all people have got to do is just switch a thing on their phone and download the app. And no, the British government said, no. Boris said, no, we'll have a world-beating test and trace. Yeah. It's going to cost £22 billion and it's still shit. Yeah.
Boris was like, nah, bro, hold my beer. I got this. I got this.
Hold my cock.
Yeah.
Well, I've got this because
but
all he thinks with.
But yeah, so that was the first lockdown. Was basically
although did enjoy the first lockdown.
Yeah, you did because you're off work. Just
100% wages, baby.
Just drinking and doing
5 months drinking and getting. I had my own mini festival in the garden. It was fantastic.
It wasn't very good for your health though.
No.
You were getting pretty jacked just before that lockdown.
Yeah, I was.
And then you put on like 4 stone.
Still not as bad as that Russian guy you showed me.
No, he put on like 10 stone, didn't he? Bodybuilder to like 10 stone heavier.
Bodybuilder to John Candy.
He looks like the Blob from the X-Men movie, you know, the Wolverine.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
He does, doesn't he?
I mean, at least he's owning it.
Yeah, he did. He was like, shaking his belly around.
But still, I was getting to a peak of physical condition.
Yeah, you were. You were getting some good pecs, man. You were flexing like, Rrr.
And sadly, that's now fallen on its arse.
Hopefully it'll come back.
Hopefully it'll come back. It's going to take me another year at least, probably.
Yeah. Ugh. But yeah. So we had that first lockdown, and I was annoyingly on board with it because obviously it was a conflict of interest. It affected my business massively, but I understood why they were doing it, and I was like, okay, get everything ready, and then come out of it, and we'll be prepared.
Yeah, well, let's get this under control.
Yeah,
and then we can just go back.
Yeah. So I was obviously annoyed, but I was okay with it because I was like, okay, it's making sense to me. Then we came out of it into this stupid ass tier system,
which they admitted 6 months later that just got overwhelmed.
Yeah,
people did take advantage of it.
Test and trace was on its ass, not working.
No.
So we couldn't find anyone. Which Japan, the reason why they handled their pandemic so well is because they put all of their money into test and trace.
They do love tech,
so they could find the people and isolate them straight away. Whereas that was like we fell on our ass completely with that.
We didn't have test and trace for like
months.
I mean, we went into lockdown. It
was like August.
We went into lockdown in March. We didn't have an app until fucking August. Yeah,
and it wasn't working.
It
still doesn't work properly now.
I've got it, and apparently I bumped into no one. Our town's going to the roof.
Yeah,
and I bumped into
And
no
you had to
one.
isolate with someone with COVID.
Oh, my stepdad got COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do wonder whether he just had really bad flu.
Probably.
Because I mean, he didn't.
Well, that's another thing. Those tests are like 60% accurate. So if you've got a cold or a flu, some sort of virus, it's probably going to pick it up.
15%, 15-minute ones are 90, or even less than that.
Oh yeah, they're like 10% accurate or something like that. If you get one of them, you have to then go get an actual test if you test positive.
A friend of mine at work lives with a nurse, and she went. The nurse was working on the COVID wards, so she was testing literally every day.
Yeah.
And because she lived with this friend of mine, she had to take a test every day too.
Yeah.
And the nurse became positive. She didn't, but she still had to self-isolate for 3 days. So they went and got a.
I bet she didn't get the message on her phone, did she?
I don't think so.
I bet she didn't. No.
It was literally a friend. She'd made it clear to work, saying, "Look, I live with a nurse who works in the COVID wards. If she tests positive, I've got to stay away until we have a proper test done."
Yeah.
It came back negative, and I don't think either of them had it.
No.
It was just.
It's a mess.
The whole thing's been so badly managed. I mean,
it's been awfully managed.
I mean, we didn't. It was only this week we were recording, as I said it before, 15th of January. This week, like nearly a year, into a botched response.
It's been like 9 or 10 months.
Yeah, they've said, "Oh, well, to get back in Britain now, you need to have a negative COVID test."
Yeah,
that should have been done on the fucking day.
Yeah,
we didn't close the airports.
No.
We didn't. It was a quarantine in
so many
name
countries
only.
have mismanaged this. It's almost like they mismanaged it on purpose.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
Because so many of our politicians
have
sat
made
on the
millions
boards of private medical companies and make the drugs.
Yeah.
Making the PPE. They're all taking their cut and they've robbed the public purse blind.
Yeah. That's the thing is whenever I bring up these COVID stuff, they're like, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." It's like, no, it's like these government officials are making money off of lockdowns. Yeah. The longer we're in lockdown, the more money they make.
Yeah. Follow the money.
Yeah. It's like there's so many people on Facebook that brainwashed. They're like, as long as it protects me and my family, it's like it's not going to protect you and your family because people are still getting it.
Right. No.
The lockdowns don't work. They don't stop the spread because you still have to go to the shop to get your food. And people that have COVID are probably going. And they're asymptomatic and they're spreading it all over.
I went into the co-op the other day, the local supermarket in the high street.
Yeah.
And there's some fucking fat old bird who you'd think is a fucking prime candidate to catch COVID.
Yeah.
Walking around with a fucking mask on with her fucking nose hanging out.
Yeah.
Right. What's the point?
There is no point.
Right. I hope you fucking get it.
Fucking hell.
No, fuck you.
Yeah.
I hope you get it.
Yeah.
Follow the fucking rules. Simple. Yeah. And part of me is like, oh, don't follow the rules. I'm Han Solo. But the second part of me is like, I've got to put a fucking bit of cloth over my face for 5 minutes.
Even though we know those cloth masks don't even work, and yet we're being forced to wear them.
It's something. It stops. Yeah. It stops. It's not to stop other people giving it me. It's to stop me giving it other people.
It doesn't work though. It goes through the whole.
It does, but it must catch something.
Catches parts of it. But
better than nothing.
Yeah.
And if we all social distance and we all wear the masks, it's better than no. It's a very low tech solution.
It works probably about 10 or 20% of the time, which is better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
It takes some strain off the health service.
Yeah.
It's not asking much. Oh, I'm not. I had someone say to me, "I'm not wearing a bondage muzzle." That's like
a bondage muzzle.
You clearly haven't seen much bondage.
Yeah.
Because that is not a ball gag. Yeah. I can show you a ball gag if you like. Right?
But yeah,
I can show you that. We can. You come round to mine. I'll show you a ball gag.
That's how he picks up ladies.
Yeah.
But yeah, to get back to the point, I understood the first lockdown, but then we came out of it. We went into the tier system, which didn't work. They admitted it didn't work. We stayed in it for months, and then we ended up having a second lockdown. Which
was a circuit breaker lockdown, which was proposed by Keir.
Yeah,
for the half-term holiday in October. The schools be off.
At that point, it completely lost me. I don't think Keir was right, and I don't think Boris was right. Keir was like, "We'll do 2 weeks, and it'll work." And Boris was like, "No, we need to keep the economy going." And then he was like, "Oh, okay, we can't. We need to do a month." But I think they were both full of shit. To be fair, I know you might disagree slightly, but at that point, we had the hospitals in place. We had the social distancing.
We shut the Nightingales at that point.
That's what I'm getting to now. We had the hospitals in place. We had the social distancing. We had the masks. So if People didn't want to get it. They should have stayed at home.
Yeah.
Anyone else should have carried on
Now,
getting on with their lives.
what I don't get is these fucking.
And then if it was such a big deal, such a big pandemic, don't close the Nightingale hospitals, and they closed them.
Oh, we're dropping it. What I don't get is these fuckers who go, oh, I haven't got to wear a mask.
Yeah.
I'm exempt. I've got this lung disease.
Yeah.
Then
It
why?
attacks your lungs.
Then why are you out in a pandemic of a disease that attacks your fucking lungs, you moron?
Yeah.
At least wear the face shield.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the cognitive dissonance of people.
Yeah.
Believing. Right, let's just sum this up, right?
And then the third lockdown is just fucking ridiculous.
The second lockdown we had
Yeah.
was pointless because the schools weren't closed and all the shops are still open.
And shielding didn't come
And
back.
shielding didn't come back.
So everyone that could have died from it was carrying on dying because they were still out and about working.
This lockdown, they've put some shielding in place. Now, I should technically be shielding.
Yeah, you make it on the list, don't you?
I make it on the list, just about.
Just, yeah.
I'm not clinically vulnerable. I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I've got to go to work.
Yeah.
And I have to get public transport to go to work.
Yeah.
Now, at work, they read me a list of COVID guidelines.
Nobody's following them.
No.
No.
And apparently I shouldn't take public transport to get to work. And I said, well, does that mean I'm going to be furloughed? They said, no.
No.
But you don't want me to take public transport.
And that's what it comes down to, though.
But if you wear a mask, you'll be all right.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. People don't realise is it's not becoming about the COVID now. It's becoming about how we can get you to work and still comply.
It's becoming about control.
Control, yeah.
And
we've given the government control because we're afraid and we want it to protect them. Which, don't get me wrong, we've lost like 80, 90,000 people. That's a lot of people, and that's awful. But it's not enough to justify closing down an economy full of 67 million people when most of those people, I'm sorry to say, of the 80, 90,000 people, probably only about 20,000 of them have died from actual COVID. The others have died from other things like health complications or being really old and then contracting COVID at the same time.
The amount of old people that get pneumonia and die.
Yeah.
It's thousands a year.
Yeah,
they get
well,
the
most
flu
people
and die.
that are dying of COVID aren't actually dying of COVID. They're dying of pneumonia because the COVID is leaving their bodies and they're getting well after COVID, and then they're developing pneumonia and dying because they've had COVID recently.
Their immune system's weakened.
Yeah.
It's flu season.
And then they get put down as a COVID death.
Exactly.
People that are having heart attacks, have cancer. If they develop COVID, it's a COVID death.
Yeah.
And then we've never done deaths like that before. We've never recorded deaths like that.
You get the feeling that maybe it's being...
they're hyping it up because they don't want to give up the control because it's making them so much money.
And let's face it, now, protests.
Yeah.
Now, in the UK, protests, gatherings of more than 10 people...
aren't allowed anymore.
Are now banned.
Yeah.
Well, so I can't protest.
Freedom of speech.
So my freedom is... Now, I don't believe...
We're having rights taken from us. They passed the law so they can... If you're unwell and they suspect you have COVID, they can take you.
Yeah.
From your home.
Yeah.
That's never happened.
If you refuse to self-isolate,
they'll take you.
They will take you.
Yeah.
Well, where are they taking me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I want to know.
Yeah.
Get the feeling it's not going to be a very nice place.
Yeah.
It might be a nice cushy hotel. It might be a nightingale hotel with a nice old cushy room and a private bar.
Yeah.
It might be a death camp. Who knows?
We get the point now where you've worked your entire life, you've bought your own home, you paid your mortgage off, you're like 50 years old and you can't have your son come over.
Yeah.
You'll get arrested. You can't have him over. Literally, it's lockdown. He can't come over. This is my home. This is my private land. I own this. It's like, it doesn't matter. He's not allowed in your home.
Yeah.
But what are you doing on the streets? Get off the streets or I'll arrest you. Give you a fine.
Yeah.
What are you doing on the streets?
First lockdown, we had the police walking past this house.
Yeah, like a couple of times a day. Asking what you're doing, where you're going.
I have not seen, genuinely, I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Police, what they used to call in the UK, on the beat.
Yeah.
Walking the streets in pairs.
Yeah.
You used to see it all the time when I was a little kid.
They don't do it anymore.
Don't do it anymore.
They're just all on cars, but they are now because they want to know what you're doing, walking around, where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like it's infringing on your human rights now.
It's coming that way. It's preparing us to lose these rights.
Yeah, and it's like, well, we're doing it to protect you. And you're like, well, if you were doing it to protect us, why weren't you putting things in place to protect us from the beginning? Why weren't you closing travel at the beginning? Why did you let us go on holiday midway through a pandemic?
Yeah.
You know how many people...
I know people that have been on holiday during a pandemic.
Yeah, I know loads of my clients this year went, oh shit, I need to go on holiday because I don't know when they're going to next lock down again. Why are you going on holiday? You're going to come back and you're going to have to self-isolate, and then they're going to lock down because people keep traveling. Why are we letting that happen?
Yeah.
Because it's not as big of a deal as they make out. It is a big deal because people are dying. People die of things and it's awful. People
die every fucking second of every day.
They die of cancer. 10 million people a year die of cancer.
Click your fingers once a second for me, please.
Yeah, somebody dies.
Someone's dead. Stop clicking your fingers, you're killing people.
Yeah. But 150,000 people a day die. Remember? I showed you that stat yesterday.
Yeah.
10 million people die of cancer. Something like 1.7 or 1.8 million people have died of COVID in a year. It's awful. It is awful.
We're putting back life-saving operations because of COVID.
Yeah, the cancer deaths are going off. Because, I've got a client. She told me yesterday. Literally, it was awful. She said, one of my best friends has just told me that she had cancer 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, just before the lockdown, and they'd booked an operation for this week, and they rang her the other day and said, we're not doing it, and we can't tell you when we're going to do it. She could die of cancer. They've said it's life-threatening. And they've just said, we can't tell you when we're going to do it.
Yeah.
The nurse on the phone apparently cried to her and said, I'm really sorry. We really wish we could help you, but we've been told to put them all back indefinitely.
Wow.
Because of COVID. And I know that's anecdotal evidence, but when a client is telling me that her best friend or one of her best friends could potentially be dead in a month or two.
Yeah.
Because that is life-saving surgery.
That's disgusting.
And that's happening all over the country.
Yes, it is.
And it's awful that all of these old people are dying from cancer, and so these sickly people, not cancer, sorry, of COVID, and these sickly people are dying of COVID. But there's people now doing analysis on the damage of the lockdowns, and they're saying something like 570,000 UK citizens could suffer and die over the next sort of few years due to lockdowns.
Kids are going hungry.
Yeah.
You know, there was the
poverty and
massive scandal.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a 30 quid box of food. That costs $5.99 from Asda.
Exactly, yeah. And the other 25 quid's getting pocketed.
Of course it is.
And Boris was like, I completely agree, that's unacceptable. You agree, mate, because somebody pointed that out on social media. If they didn't, you would have been fine with it.
Of course you would.
Yeah. You literally are only doing it because you got called out on it.
Yeah.
You knew because you would have had to sign off on it, or one of the people in your party would have had to sign off on it.
The buck stops with him at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, this is the thing, and I know it's awful, but the 560,000 or 70,000 people that will die in the next 5-10 years due to the economic strife, the poverty and everything from lockdown.
And this ties in with Brexit. Our standards are going to go down.
Yeah. The people that will die will be the young and the poor. The people, I know it's going to sound awful now, but the people that are dying from COVID are mostly people in their 80s.
Yeah.
So they're going to die soon anyway.
Well, that takes
of sicknesses and stuff. And there are young people dying from it, and that's awful as well. And we do need to try and cure it, and that's what we're working on. But is it enough to stop the entire world? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it's enough to stop the world.
And our vaccine program.
Not for a year, anyway.
I mean, just briefly touch on our vaccine. We're inoculating the
elderly. Over 3 million vaccinated so far.
Which is actually
not
reasonably
bad.
good.
Yeah.
But they're inoculating the elderly. Now,
again, it's going to sound awful, but
it's going to sound terrible. But
they have to wait a month. If you're 90 and you get your vaccination, and in a month's time, you might not be around for your second vaccination.
Get the workforce done. First of all,
some
NHS,
countries are doing
key workers, police force, army, all those guys who are needed to keep the country running.
Yeah.
Right? Get them done first.
Yeah.
And then do the likes of me, who works in a warehouse, who supplies the NHS. Do the likes of you, who's a...
Doesn't work with many people, but works with a few members of the public.
Works with members of the public. Do all. In fact, you know what? You're a fitness practitioner, right? We need fitness more than anything right now because everyone's let themselves go over lockdown.
And the virus attacks your cardiovascular system.
So maybe they should give you some kind of grant so you can charge lower prices to get more people in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
They should be pumping a ton of money into fitness because literally fitness strengthens your lungs, COVID attacks your lungs.
Yeah. So...
That's the one thing we shouldn't be closing down is the gyms.
So lock and the gyms had fuck all COVID cases because, as a matter of gym etiquette, you wipe your shit down once you're done with it.
Yeah.
Right?
They quickly became one of the cleanest places in the UK.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they are
Right.
literally fighting COVID because you're strengthening your lungs.
Exactly.
They should never have been closed down.
So what's the point of giving a 90-year-old one injection and going, come back in a month, Doris, and she pops her clogs 2 days fucking later, right? You could have given that to me.
Yeah.
I could have had a month, furlough me for the month, right? Same with everyone. We do it in stages.
Yeah.
Okay, right. You lot, you're furloughed for a month. You don't leave the house until you go back for your second injection, and then you go out.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get the pubs open, the restaurants open, the shops open, the high streets. Let's get everything back open and just shield those who need it.
Yeah.
I know that's an unpopular view.
Yeah.
But I can't see how could be any worse.
Yeah. This is
once you've done all the care home workers, the elderly aren't going to get COVID, are they?
Yeah. See, this was my argument the entire lockdown, and I went along with the first one because it made sense with the Nightingale hospitals getting the rate down.
The first one,
and then the second and the third lockdowns, it just made no sense to me.
The second made no sense. They didn't even close the schools.
No, and then the third one is just ridiculous. Yeah. It's at this point you're just wasting time, you're wasting money, and you're killing livelihoods. 70% of the self-employed have given up. They've thrown in their towel now, and it's going to go up. It'll be 90 by the end of this. 90%.
Trying to kill private enterprise.
They are, yeah. That's the only reason why we're having a third one is the Tories want to do away with the self-employed. But this is what I've been saying since the beginning. If this attacks only the sickly and the elderly, then literally, as a country, you should just go right. Okay, so for 2 weeks we locked down. We've done a little bit of research, but the evidence has come in. We've realised now that it only really attacks people that are like 65, 70 plus.
Or have underlying health conditions.
People that have an underlying health, usually. So what we're going to go and do is we're going to put everyone on permanent furlough or like,
UBI, whatever.
Yeah. Anyone, what's that? Because nobody knows.
Universal basic income.
Yeah, so it's just basically a form of money that will keep
Here's
people
some
going.
money.
Yeah. So your people that make it on the list that are your sort of age, sort of, type 2 diabetics, type 1 diabetics, anyone with any health issues, asthma, and then all your elderly, they get money to stay at home. Yeah. We could have funded that indefinitely.
Stay at home until we've got the fucking vaccine sorted. And if you go out and you die, that's on you.
Yeah. Self-accountability.
Exactly.
And then everyone else, like myself, that's 28.
I've got to work, though. I still got to work.
Yeah. Still, like myself, 28 at the time. I'm not now. Yeah. But I was then, super fit, take my chances. If I get it, I would be one of the few people that wouldn't probably notice I had it. The asymptomatics, 20%, 30%, whatever it is. But then the people that maybe are my age, that maybe smoke or they drink or they sit on a computer all day, not very fit, they get it, they go to the hospital. Chances are they don't even make it to the ventilators.
Costs more to keep them than it does to pay you.
Yeah, chances are they don't even make it to the ventilators. And if they do make it to the ventilators, that's one person instead of thousands of elderly and sickly. Because they're at home.
But if they said to you, hey, we'll pay you £10 for every client you have, so you only have to charge them a £5.
Yeah.
Right? You get a lot more clients, and you would be helping to beat COVID, or helping the individual to beat COVID.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have been a better idea.
It's like literally, if there's a fire in one house, you don't hose the whole house, the whole street, do you?
If your house is on fire, you don't carry water to your neighbour's house.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're like, right, okay, so there's COVID, it's killing like something like 0.7% of people that have it. Which obviously that number goes drastically up if you're old, but on average. And why tell people that are healthy, like children and people in their 20s that are fit and healthy, to stay at home?
Yeah.
It's silly.
Makes no sense.
You're taking like 2 years of their life away from them when they don't need to give it up.
And all you're doing is going to work and coming home.
It just seems like an absolute fucking mess. It's like you don't lock down an entire country just to protect a few people. We could have put so many incentives in it. We could have put a ton of money into track and tracing so that we could have found who has it, isolate them. We could have put financial incentives.
We could have just used a Google and Apple model.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But then like put a ton of money into personnel. So like people to go find the person. Who have you seen? What have you been doing? We'll get them all to self-isolate. Financial incentives. So here, have a grand self-isolate for a month.
Yeah, it's £1,200 a month.
Yeah, self-isolate. We could have put a ton of money into that. Everyone in there all the kids could have stayed in school, or the people 20, 30 years old could have carried on working, or your sickly people and your old people. Isolate, we'll pay all your bills, we'll give you money to self-isolate. And you could have even given for financial incentives. You could have been like, look, if you don't go see your granny for a year, we'll give you £1,000. You know what I
How do
mean?
you prove that though?
Phones.
Yeah,
Let
true.
us track you.
Yeah.
Download this app, and if you can prove that you didn't go see any
well,
elderly people, we'll give you £1,000.
Well, the mobile phone is the greatest tracking device ever.
Yeah, we
invented.
take it everywhere.
And everyone's sorry, oh, this vaccine, it's got a microchip in, it's going to bug you. Bill Gates wants to know where you are.
Yeah.
Mate, Bill Gates already knows where you are. You've got a mobile phone.
Yeah. And to be fair, yes, you could have left your phone at home and gone to see your granny. But if you think about it, if you're thinking, well, you know what, is it worth me getting spotted by someone and not getting my grand? Plus, my granny might die.
I'd rather have that £1,000.
Yeah, exactly. So
I can still Skype them.
Yeah, there's a ton of incentives.
I can show her how to use Skype.
Yeah, there's a ton of incentives we could have done to have kept people away from the elderly, from the sickly, and then protected the elderly and the sickly and carried on with the economy. Japan did it fine. Yeah. Japan didn't really do a lockdown.
Look at Christmas.
Sweden didn't really. Is it Sweden that didn't do a lockdown?
Yeah, Sweden.
They didn't do a lockdown.
Look at Christmas. Oh, yeah, by the way, Christmas Day. Go and break the rules. Go and do what you want Christmas Day. For a day. Yeah, and now the NHS is on its arse, you prick.
Yeah.
The fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, but people vote for this.
Yeah.
And they probably will vote for it.
Well, he promised us a lockdown so we could have 5 days and then we got one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, we're back in lockdown for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed.
Well, yeah, you're working through it.
Well, no, it's not even that.
Well, I say you're working through it. You've had most of this week off.
I've done one full day.
Yeah.
But it's annoying. It's like, well, for my personal things, I'm either vulnerable or I'm not. I was vulnerable first time, now I'm not.
Yeah.
So does that mean they don't give a shit anymore?
Yeah, it's all bollocks because it's just about making money.
Of course it is.
None of it makes sense. It's like you have all these brainwashed sheep that go along with it, and like if it protects me and my family, then I'll keep doing it. It's like, how long are you gonna keep doing it for? A year?
Yeah.
2 years? 5 years? Because they will keep telling you, and they'll keep moving the goalpost.
Of course.
It's like 1 lockdown and we'll have this sorted. 2 lockdowns and we'll have this sorted. When they came out before this lockdown and said, right, as soon as the vaccine's done, this will all be over. And now they're saying, well, we'll have 14 million by the end of the lockdown. And I'm like, okay, so it'll be over after that. They're like, now the lockdown could be another 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I thought you said it'd be over once we've vaccinated all the vulnerable. With 14 million, those four different tiers of vulnerability. So we're going to have to wait till the 10 tiers of vulnerability. So another 2 or 3 months.
There's 10 tiers altogether.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is it going to go from 4 to 10 now before the lockdown comes? And then is it going to get to 30 or 40 million people vaccinated? Oh, well, we're going to wait till 70% of them have been vaccinated.
But he wanted herd immunity to start with.
He did, yeah.
He was like, well, some of you are going to have to take it on the chin. We're going to lose people.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm almost agreeing with that.
Yeah.
So,
well,
you know what?
This is essentially herd immunity because the only
is.
people that are left now, obviously there is still people dying, but the only people that are left now, they've probably had it. Because not everyone got tested because there would have been asymptomatic.
Wasn't
people.
No testing for months.
Yeah, so a lot of people would have had it and survived and not realised they've had it, or realised they've had it but been okay.
You know what? I haven't caught fucking anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had it at the beginning. You remember the first lockdown when I said I didn't feel very well? I kept waking up in the mornings and being quite snivelly, and then in the evenings I was very coughy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for about 2 weeks. And that was 2 weeks after my mum thinks she has it because the doctors now are telling her she probably has long COVID, which is where you're still suffering from the symptoms because she still struggles with her breathing.
But I spent obviously 2 weeks with you who might have had a soft form of it.
Yeah.
I spent 2 weeks when my stepdad had it.
And you had nothing, so you're asymptomatic.
Yeah, because I'd had to go and live with my mum again for 2 weeks because I was in their bubble, the support bubble.
Yeah.
And he had it, so therefore I'd been round and I got it.
Yeah.
And I spent 2 weeks there.
Yeah.
And I felt absolutely fine.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, people don't want to believe it, but for a lot of people, they will be fine.
Yeah.
A lot of people, 20% at least are asymptomatic, it's probably higher than that. And of the people that do get it, most are fine. Most just have mild symptoms. People are making freaking TikToks of it, where they're drinking freaking different, like, pickle juice. Because they can't taste pickles anymore. They're making fun of it because, and I'm not making fun of the suffering, but they're making fun of their own situation. Because they're like, oh my God, I can't taste anything anymore. But it's mild for a lot of people.
Of course it is.
Because for anyone like 1 to 10 is like the fatality is basically 0, and then for anyone that's like 20 to 30, it's something like 0.3 or something like that.
0.03.
Yeah, so it's basically nothing.
It goes no higher than 1.5%.
Yeah, it doesn't really go high till you hit the 75 mark. That's when it really jumps up. It's not as big it's been massively blown out of proportion, and the reason why is now is they don't want to admit it because it makes them a ton of money, and also because it'll make them look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Americans were trying to stop.
Yeah, the Americans were hit really bad, and they were hit the worst, because like 27% of their population are morbidly obese, and it attacks the morbidly obese.
Only 27%.
Morbid, not just obese, morbidly obese.
Oh right, okay. You're talking like the guys that have a wheel under their belly.
Yeah, the guys that are on their mobility scooters and shit.
Oh, don't get me started.
Because they can't even get up.
Don't get me started on them fuckers.
Yeah, so that's why so many Americans are dying from it. And unfortunately, we have to look at ourselves and go, well, why were we hit harder than everyone else? And we were hit harder than everyone else because we're like the second worst for obesity in the entire planet.
We're not far off.
We're number 2, yeah.
I mean, we are certainly the most obese nation in Europe.
Yeah. I mean, why were so many Spanish and Italians hit? Because they live with
their elderly people.
They live with the elderly people.
Very different culture.
The kids were coming home. The parents were coming home from work. Both asymptomatic, or at least one of them was, passed on to the grandparents. Grandparents were dying.
Yeah.
That's why that was happening. A lot of them smoked as well. So once they caught it, their lungs couldn't handle it. Died. Smoking makes it harder for you to catch it.
There you go.
But once you've got it, you're fucked if you smoke it.
You'll be all right.
But
I've always said I can go any time. I've lived the last sort of 2 years as a dead man walking
rolling
approach.
with the punches.
Yeah, I'm a dead man walking.
Yeah,
that's how I've lived my last couple of years.
But the reason why so many English people have died is because they're really unfit.
Yeah,
that's why. And we've got to look at it, self-accountability. The reason why the gyms, the science is there, the studies have been there. The reason why the gyms have argued so much about keeping open is because it literally keeps the COVID deaths low, and they've closed them anyway. Yeah. So basically they're saying, no, we want to keep people fat. And how many people do you know? You've been back to work. How many people have you known that have put on a bit of timber while they've been on lockdown?
Everyone.
Exactly. Even I put on timber and I work out all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. And their attitude is, we need to close everything. It's not safe. It's like
bullshit.
Yeah, it is. It's bollocks. When you actually critically think about it, you're like, well, none of this adds up.
No.
Or you're giving all of these things to your mates that have no experience in any of the sectors, millions of pounds.
Billions?
Yes, sometimes billions of pounds. And we're no better off. We're worse off now than we were in March.
We're certainly financially worse off, and there's now 100,000 people dead, apparently.
Well, the thing is they do the infection rate on the news every day to scare us, because they're like, 50,000 people have COVID. 50,000 people probably had COVID in March. We just didn't have the testing facilities, the testing technology. So 50,000 people probably had it. We test like 200,000 people a day.
We didn't get tests. We didn't start getting tests until the fucking, October?
Yeah. So So those numbers terrify us. We're like, oh, fuck, 50,000. It's like, yeah, we test 10 times more than anyone else in Europe. So, of course.
Now they've said that 1 in 50 of us have had it.
Yeah.
Well, 1 in 50 of us haven't died.
Yeah, exactly. So most of us are fine. And then they're like, oh, well, we've had 1,500 deaths. And it's like, yeah, we have had probably 1,500 deaths. But have they all been COVID, or have they been COVID related? Because I guarantee you 1,200 of them are probably COVID related. They had sicknesses and then the COVID finished them off.
This can't keep rolling on forever.
No, it can't.
You know, it's like sooner or later.
Yeah.
As much as
people are gonna snap.
People aren't happy. I mean, you can't even fucking protest anymore.
No.
If you do protest, you're a dangerous conspiracy theorist and a tinfoil hat wearer.
Yeah.
And it's like,
we're not that. We want to just go.
I just want to go on my life.
Yeah, we want it to be over.
I'll take the risk. Fuck it.
Yeah. That's what it gets to the point is, this is what happened with the Spanish flu. 50 million people died of the Spanish flu, and that's just because we stopped documenting how many people died. Yeah. And it's because people got fed up of it.
And there was no lockdown then because the government was worried about how much it hurt the economy.
We just came off a war. We didn't want to lock down again. We wanted to live our lives. Yeah. Well, not us, but they did. And you can't live your life like this indefinitely.
No.
It's at some point.
All we do nowadays is live in fear. That's all we do. Live in fear.
A lot of scientists say lockdowns are working, the vaccine's the best option, and all this and that. But you have to think most of them have financial sort of incentives to say those things because they have investments. A lot of the scientists that don't have investments say lockdowns don't work, and all they do is they slow down the spread, but they just put off the inevitable. And then once we come out of them, it spikes and people die because people are going to die from it. You're just putting it off.
Yeah.
And that's proof. Every time we come out of lockdown, we're okay for about a week or two, and then it massively spikes again.
Because everything just goes out. They brought in the tier system and never foresaw that someone from a tier 4 area
would go to a tier 3.
Might go to a tier 3 or a tier 2 or a tier 1 just to have a few pints in a pub because they fucking miss it.
Yeah. That's the thing. It is literally.
I didn't do that, by the way. It sounded like I did.
Yeah, he didn't do that. he was good for most of it.
Most of it. Oh, I've been no, I am.
Yeah.
No one has. No one has.
Yeah, the rules don't really make sense. And they do it on purpose, so they expect you just to follow all of the rules, even those that you're not sure on, sort of thing. But yeah, you can't keep going on with it, and people are getting fed up of it. And there are a lot of people that are afraid by these numbers, and they're scared, and they're like, "Oh, this if I get this, it's the big one. It's going to kill me." And the truth of the matter is those people that are afraid of it probably have had it. Yeah. They haven't even realised they've had it.
I get by a bus tomorrow. Fuck it.
Yeah. When I was
too short, man.
When I was able to go back to work again for the short period of time last year, the amount of clients I had that came in with sniffles and coughs and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, I think it's just a cold." None of them got tested. And I didn't go, "Oh, stay away from me." Kept my distance, obviously, but they probably had COVID.
Could have.
And I was fine. I didn't get anything.
I've been around people at work.
Yeah, you can't avoid it. It's impossible. If you're in the working force, you cannot avoid it.
No, but I'm being told to go.
Yeah.
Regardless of. But if you wanted to do a proper lockdown,
if you wanted to keep,
you shut everything down apart from the fucking key.
Well, yeah, your
key workers.
Technically, based on just down on paper, your probability of death should be higher than mine. So why are you at work? And you're at work because they don't care about the probabilities. They don't care about the statistics.
And work doesn't care about it.
Yeah. If 1,500 people are dying, it's like, it's because you're not doing any shielding anymore. So of course the deaths are going to go up because the shielders are going back to work again, so they're getting it. And if everyone's going back to work again, where are the kids going? They're going to their grandparents. So the deaths are going up again.
So the kids are going to school because their parents are key workers.
Yeah.
Which is still allowed.
Well, they're not even going to school, and their parents are just giving it to the kids, and then the kids are giving it to the parents.
Oh, it's all
the grandparents.
It's all such a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Oh, should we call it a day before I lose the will to live?
Yeah.
And just go in there and start licking doorknobs and bus buttons.
I think it's just safe to assume we are definitely fed up with the lockdowns. I think after lockdown 3, we've realised they don't work. The idea is because a lot of people that said at the beginning lockdowns don't work. The argument was lockdowns don't work because they don't stop the virus, and the other argument was, well, it's not to stop the virus, it's to slow it so that the NHS
to protect the NHS.
Yeah, to protect the NHS. But that's not worked, and it's not working.
No,
it's not working. So rather than protecting the NHS by stupidly doing lockdowns that don't work, why don't we put money into the NHS? Why don't we bring nurses? Why don't we bring nurses from abroad, from countries?
Hey, that's a good idea.
From countries that aren't affected by coronavirus as badly.
Hey, remember when we had freedom of movement?
Yeah.
We could have done that.
We could have imported a bunch of nurses and a bunch of doctors from countries that haven't been hit so badly, like Japan. We've just created a trade deal with them. Why don't we bring them over? They can help out. They seem to have dealt with it much better than we did.
Language barrier might be an issue with Japan.
True.
So many Japanese people speak English.
All these translators that have no work because they can't travel.
Of course.
Give them jobs.
Yeah.
I'm fixing the world's economy right now.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Boom. There we have it. Stay tuned for our next podcast. Sean fixes the world's economy.
President Sean 2028.
Yeah. Field Marshal Ben Carter.
Yeah. Why not?
Fucking get it.
General Carter.
Field Marshal.
It's gotta be.
Field Marshal.
Is it higher? Is it? I don't know.
I refer to it as higher.
Yeah. But yeah, it clearly doesn't work. It hasn't worked for the last 2. I don't even think it worked on the first one. We should have put more money into
it. Kinda did.
Kind of. The rate went down, but you could argue that was because of summer. They came out with this bullshit about, it's going to be worse in the summer and better in the winter. It's like every flu virus spreads like mad. We literally have flu season in the winter.
Yeah.
This is going to spread really bad in the winter. And they were like, no, we're scientists. We know what we're talking about. It's going to be much worse in the summer. Expect a massive boom in the summer. Died off in the summer. Massive hit in the winter.
Yeah, I thought it was
surprise, a fucking surprise.
I mean, genuinely, I spent all summer sat in the garden getting pissed.
Yeah.
I was expecting that phone call any day.
Yeah.
Come to the winter, started to get cooler. I thought, maybe I won't go back yet.
Yeah.
Call me back in September.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah. But it's common sense, though, isn't it? Colds and flus spread like wildfire in the winter.
Yeah.
And I literally said to you at the beginning, I said, why are they locking us down now? Just as it's starting to heat up. I said they even needed to lock down 2 months ago when they first heard about it. Lock down the airport. Yeah. Lock down everything.
We should have locked down as soon as the first
in friggin'
case
January.
As soon as we literally had the first case,
yeah.
right? Close the airports.
Yeah.
Everything shut.
Before we even had a first case.
3 weeks, we're going to take the hit.
Yeah.
3 weeks lockdown, nothing.
But even before then, wait a sec. So China has this massive virus that's spreading really bad, and it's been out since November, and it's January. Oh, I know. Let's make sure no one can come in for the whole of January. Let's lock down in February for the whole of February.
The last time I went to the pub on a night out was the start of February.
Yeah.
Last year.
And so
we were laughing about this coronavirus. This coronavirus. It's named after a beer.
And now it's ruined our lives.
Now it's fucked.
And I literally said, you probably remember me saying, I said we should have either locked down a month or two ago. This was in March, or I said, we should leave it to the winter.
Yeah.
Do you remember me saying that? And you said, oh yeah, but they're saying, all the scientists are saying it's going to hit us bad in the summer. We had nothing during the summer.
No, it went down.
All those scientists was wrong, and they were like, oh yeah, all these Facebook people are full of shit. Trust the scientists. They've been wrong almost every time. And now the winter's come along, and I'm like, well, it's common sense. Viruses spread really bad in the winter.
Yeah.
And then we've been hit so badly now, and we don't have the money, and we don't have the...
There's always more money.
Yeah, well, apparently there isn't, because they're forcing all of the shielding people back at work.
Oh, yeah.
So
no, there's always more money for the rich.
It's like,
there's
sorry,
not more
mate,
money for the rest of us.
It's like, sorry, mate, this is worse than it was in March by a fair margin, but we can't afford to put you off now.
Yeah. And
if you die, sorry, mate, but at least you had 3 months off to chill out and enjoy the weather. Thanks, mate. I'll just die of coronavirus then, I guess, just because you ran out of fucking money.
Yeah. You ran out of something that's literally numbers on a screen.
Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, should we call that a day?
Yeah, yeah.
It just for our bitterness.
Yeah,
continues
we just are our wits end with it, aren't we?
Yeah.
We want to protect people. We want to keep them alive, but at the same time, as we understand that whatever the government is doing isn't working, and it is affecting everyone's mental health and lives now.
Just let me get on with it.
People are killing themselves over this now.
Yeah, they are. A friend of mine took their own life in last June.
January is one of the worst times for suicides.
Yeah.
And they've locked us down in January. It's like winter. It's cold. It's dark. People are depressed. They kill themselves en masse, and now we're in a lockdown.
Yeah,
suicides have massively gone up.
Good, we haven't heard those stats, though, have we?
No, you can't find those stats.
So let's just say to finish, if you are lonely and depressed, don't kill yourself. No. Talk to someone.
Yeah.
Let's say that we will come out of this eventually.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Message us and tell us new podcasts to do.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah,
rather than killing yourself.
Tell us where we're going wrong.
Yeah,
actually, don't. Just leave us a nice review.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. You want to speak to someone? Fuck it. Message us.
Yeah.
Message the page.
Message
we'll pick it up. You want to talk to someone that bad? We'll do our best.
We're not great conversation, but we try.
Yeah. I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm positively fucking charming.
Right, man. Should we leave?
Let's say I've been Ben. Thank you very much for listening, and the offer goes out there.
Yeah.
You want to talk? Hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Don't drink the Flavor Aid. Don't join a cult. Always form a shield wall.
Yeah. And I've been Sean. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Anchor. Support us on Patreon if you want to.
Like to, yeah.
Give us your money.
I know that it's short, so you know. Money's short.
Yeah.
Money's tight.
But... And we're becoming capitalist pigs, so support us. Give us the money. Give us that green, that dollar.
All about the Benjamins.
Yeah. Give us those Benjamins. And listen to Coming Through the Bull. They're not as interesting and as fun as this podcast.
They have their moments.
But they're all right. Ben's on it.
They have their moments, so all right when I'm speaking.
Ben's on it, so he's the weakness in that podcast.
I am that show.
But yeah, it's worth a listen. It's not as good as this, but it's worth a listen. I mean, I'm not on it, so that's a massive
You
drawback.
could be, but every time I invite you, like, I'm seeing my girlfriend.
Yeah, that's just an excuse, really.
I thought it was.
I just don't want to get super high.
You will be.
I just don't want to sit there and be like, whoa.
You will be. That's the thing. You'll be so fucking. I want to see it.
Be like, was that wall always furry?
Stroke
the furry wall. Thanks for listening, guys. See ya. Peace.